Montreal, the ultimate game of the final series. Game 3, best of 3 from Molson Center. It is Canada and the U.S. for the World Cup of Hockey. Hi, everybody. Along with John Davidson, I'm Mike Emmerich. This is what we dreamed of when we first heard there'd be a World Cup of Hockey, that it would go to a third game and the U.S. against Canada. The best run that a United States team has had since the Winter Olympics in Lake Placid in 1980. And USA coach Ron Wilson said this morning, this is the most important game a group of professional hockey players from the United States have ever had to play.
You know, Mike, somewhere around Boston right now, Mike Eruzione, who scored that game winner to beat the Russians in 80, got to have a big smile on his face. In fact, he sent a telegram wishing his club, the Team USA, a lot of luck in this one. For Team Canada, hockey's the one sport that unites this country. This country at times needs some unification, and hockey does it for them. In 1972, they beat Russia, or the Soviet Union, in Moscow on a goal by Paul Henderson. It's been thought of ever since as one of the biggest sporting moments ever in this country. They're now saying this game tonight is the biggest game in this country, for this country, since 1972. That sort of sets the stage, doesn't it?
Does it ever? We've picked 6 guys to watch tonight. We could actually fit 20, really, including the backup goaltenders. But we're going with the most important forwards, defensemen, and of course the goaltenders in this game. Leclerc, Chelios, Richter for the U.S., Messier, Stevens, and Joseph for Canada.
Mark Messier's back. Team Canada players and the country of Canada happy. We've all talked about it. He has the reputation of being one of the greatest leaders in the history of team sports. He'll be looked upon to provide that leadership again. And for Team USA, John Leclerc has been unstoppable, Mike. This is a player that is leading the tournament in scoring. Canada structured their practice yesterday to try and find a way to stop John Leclerc because he's so big. When he gets to the front of the net, like you see here, and he's not touched, he can't be moved. He has great hands, a little deflection, and he scores goals. So yesterday, the Team Canada club worked at trying to find a way to stop him from getting to the net, like a big lineman of football blocking out a great big player like John Leclerc.
Well, goalie Mike Richter for the U.S. has been huge in this series, too. Will he face anything different from Canada?
He is such a great athlete that Canada's trying to put people in front of the goal to block his view, to bump him a little bit, to find rebounds. Again, Canada in their practice yesterday worked at sending 2 forwards to the front of the goal because of the respect that they have for Mike Richter. This should be a good one, and Richter and Leclerc and Messier and Cujo, they've got some great ones.
2 teams who've been together for just 32 days, but memorable days. Both with one hand on the World Cup. That changes tonight, or maybe it'll take till tomorrow morning. We'll see.
But the expiration date says...
Forget expiration dates. These born-on dates tell you when it was made, so you know it's fresh.
So what do we do with those?
Budweiser. Fresh beer tastes better.
Scary, huh?
If I give you a clean sheet, what will you write? Will it be poetry or just plain English? If you have something to say it now. For soon, my sheet will be filled, and this chapter will end, sure as the next will begin, with a clean sheet, new authors, and a million possibilities.
Going to New Delhi, down to Ubangi, Parisian city looks oh so pretty, you'll see. Montenegro, Mavkovsky, you score. Roma and Verona, and up against Sahara, London, Glasgow, San Bernardino, get here to this kindly test. Let me do all along your trip, and get your kegs on Route 66.
Peter.
Done that.
What would you say to a car that has more room and more power than a Saturn Coupe? And a Corolla, and a Tercel, and a Prism, and a Sentra, and a Civic? And what would you say if that roomier, zoomier, cab-forward, dual-airbagged car also cost less than any of them? How about hi? Say hello to Dodge Neon Coupe, around 9.4 for starters.
The World Cup of Hockey is being brought to you by Bud Ice and Bud Ice Light. Bud Ice, beware the penguins. By Bauer, the original hockey company. Bauer, leave an impression. by the new Dodge, we're thinking ahead, and by the intense, slammin', wicked, head-banging Taste of Dew. Not far from that St. Lawrence River, here at the Molson Center, up on the 8th floor, we swing down to the first floor, and Jim Fox.
Thanks very much, Mike. Having talked to both coaching staffs before this game, they both point in the physical aspects of the game to a strong forecheck. For Team Canada, they're very concerned. The first 2 men in, they have to put pressure on the U.S. defense, but at the same time, they can't get caught deep by one pass, and therefore the forecheck breakdown. Now the American team, they're pointing to two guys, Keith Tkachuk and Billy Guerin, especially early in the game, to get deep, get hits, and force mistakes out of the Canadian defense. From the mental standpoint, it's total difference. Well, in the last game, Canada felt they got too pumped up. Perhaps they felt they wanted it too much. Guys tried to play like individuals. They got away from the team game. The American team, they don't mind this road game, so to speak, because they feel they don't have to put on a show for anyone. They can play hard, they can get the hits, they get the tempo up, they skate hard all night, and by the end of the game, they feel they can wear down Canada.
Thanks, Jim. You saw Team USA leaving for the ice right behind him. Canada is there. There are many banners for Canada and a few for Team USA. We'll be back with the start of the game in a moment.
If you ask whether it's better to give or receive, I'm in favor of both. Either can change a person's life. I remember when I received a travel and training grant from the Women's Sports Foundation. The grant made me feel like people believed in me, believed that I could become a champion. It kept me going strong when I needed it the most. Now I feel an obligation to give back to other young athletes, which is why I'm telling you about the Travel and Training Fund. The fund will give a lot of serious female athletes the boost I got. It will help young women become their absolute best. Maybe even champions.
If you're an aspiring athlete or know of someone who could use some financial help, find out more about the Travel and Training Fund. Write to Travel and Training Fund, care of the Women's Sports Foundation, Eisenhower Park, East Meadow, New York, 11554. Or call 1-800-227-3988.
Don't let anything stop you from trying.
They can seat 21,500 here in Montreal. This will likely be the largest crowd tonight to ever watch an international hockey game. The one on Thursday set the new record. They expect more here tonight. The fans are standing to salute these two nations with their anthems.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Et maintenant, pour l'interprétation de l'hymne canadien, for the Canadian National Anthem, Monsieur André Ouellet.
Oh,
Curtis Joseph has been great. He stopped 95 of his last 102 shots. He's 11 out of 11 in overtime.
And Mike Richter, whose home is Flourtown, Pennsylvania. He went to the University of Wisconsin for a couple of seasons. He plays for the New York Rangers. He's undefeated in this building. A perfect 4-0 in the 4 games in which he has played in this new Montreal building.
Terry Gregson, 42, from Erin, Ontario. Gord Brossiker and Ray Scapinello, the linesman.
In the Canadian locker room just before game time, that is Robert Esme, who ran the first leg of the 4x100 for Canada in the Olympics. There he is handing the baton to Wayne Gretzky, a pump-up job for Wayne and Team Canada before the game. For Team USA, they got a telegram today from Mike Eruzione. It read in part, "I know what it feels like to be where you are. It's a special moment, so capture it." Here we go.
Scott Stevens lays it back in. He starts the game along with Eric Desjardins, Sakic, Lindros, and Shanahan up front. Team USA has Adam Deadmarsh, who brings it on. LaFontaine breaking, but it's swung away. The other forward, Joel Otto. Chelios and Suter start out on defense. Joe Sakic bringing it on for Canada. Sakic a shot, and it's slithered wide. Rebound right out in front, and the net dislodged behind Richter. Well, John, what about the keys tonight for Team USA?
Mentally, Mike, they have to believe in themselves. They have to be strong. It's another barrier for them psychologically, and the coaching staff said they would know early. Canada had a great third period in game 2 because of their forechecking. Team USA could not allow that to happen like it did in the third period of game 2 and keep the crease clear. Canada practiced yesterday sending forwards on every single drill to the net, to the net, to the net to try and find a way to beat Mike Richter, and that'll be the job for Chris Chelios to knock people away from Mike Richter's goal crease.
Team USA is the home team tonight. They get the last change. Canada did not make a change, but Team USA has made at least a couple. They've been able to get Gary Suter back off. They wanted Darian Hatcher out there to work against both Lindros and Shanahan, and they've gotten that.
Hatcher and Brian Leetch have been a pair against them. Hatcher as big as the other Canadian forwards, and Leetch, he doesn't get hit much. He's too smart.
No change in the U.S. forwards. Bouncing puck to Joel Otto. Turned around by Eric Lindros, but the puck came to Leetch. Then ricocheted off of Brendan Shanahan. Lindros lost. Shuttled back out again by Deadmarsh. And the first change in forwards for Team USA. No icing on this play. Scott Stevens takes over. Stevens banked one ahead that skipped through Adam Graves and is taken by Brian Leetch, the captain of the U.S. team. Leetch connecting on to Scott Young from Clinton, Massachusetts. Bounces one in that ricocheted off of Lyle Odeline. Odeline tied up on the boards. Claude Lemieux comes by, hoping to pick it free.
Claude Lemieux's on the ice because Brett Hull's on the ice. That'll be a matchup I think we'll see throughout the game. 22 red for Canada against 15 white for Team USA.
What about the keys tonight for Canada, John?
Mike, their coaching staff felt in the third period, which they played so well, yet lost game 2, they played the game simple. North-south, not east-west. Get the puck deep and try and forecheck as much as possible. They have been shellacked in their second periods. Outscored 11-5 overall in the tournament and 4-1 in this final series by Team USA in those second periods. And I don't know, can they stop Leclerc? John Leclerc's been awesome. It'll be a big test for Team USA and John Leclerc to continue and for Team Canada to try and stop him.
Scott Young and Doug Waite and Brett Hull, the forwards. Matthew Schneider working on defense with Kevin Hatcher. It is Niedermeyer for Canada, wrapping it on around to be taken by Lemieux, moving out with Mark Messier. Messier just threw it back in deep, and it curled on around. Knocked out of the play was Scott Young, and the puck escapes back near Lyle Odeline. The last games he played here in Montreal were as a member of the Canadiens. He was traded for Stéphane Richer to the New Jersey Devils. Niedermeyer pitched that one back in. Around it swirls. Keith Tkachuk took a little lumber from Claude Lemieux. Centering pass, skipped all the way to neutral ice, and Paul Coffey fresh from the bench to get it there. 2 minutes have been played. We're looking for our first shot. Tom Foose tapped it in. Kevin Hatcher goes to get it. Did you expect a careful start to this game, John?
Yeah, but every single time there's a loose puck, there's a battle. Every face-off is a battle. There's a lot of determination with both clubs here early, Mike. A lot of determination.
Puck turned back out near Bill Guerin. Rammed Paul Coffey and sent him down to the ice hard. Meanwhile, it's played by Team USA again, and it's Guerin flipping one over. Missed for Keith Kachuk, but he's able to bat it back in. Curtis Joseph steers it quickly back around the boards. Good hit on Damphousse by Guerin, and the puck went all the way back to Chelios. Chris Chelios pulled away from one, laid a pass that was cut off. Theo Fleury stepping back in. Fleury, menaced by Suter, put it on goal. There'll be a penalty coming up. It'll be against Team USA. And the first power play goes to Canada.
The Chelios pass did not work. Canada was making a change. Fleury got onto the ice, intercepted the pass. So what you have is a neutral zone turnover, and that leads to a team that all of a sudden gets into trouble, which they did. Chelios, it looks like, will be the player going to the box. It's an interference call. Terry Gregson hands out the first penalty. Again, neutral zone turnovers create problems. Coffey injured, it looks like, down the left arm.
Boy, did he ever get thumped to the boards and glass.
Yeah, right here. Bill Guerin, they wanted him to make sure he finished checks. And look at that. That's an accordion job on Paul Coffey, who was sideways into the boards, facing up ice. His body was at an angle to the boards, and he got accordion. So he's hurting. You see the grimace on his face right there as he looks now to get to the bench. So again, Chelios with the turnover. Fleury with a good intercept leads Canada to their first power play, and they have scored 3 power play goals in this final series.
In all the competition that goes back through the previous 18 games, nobody has had a power play even close to Canada's in success. It's 31%. They are 3 for 8 in the series. Puck lobbed along the boards and unable to get it by Joel Otto in the attempt to feed the point. And so dropping back will be Niedermeyer. They've got Eric Lindros back on the left point now.
3 minutes in, there hasn't been a shot on goal registered. Coffey is now going to the left, to the locker room, and his left arm is being cradled, so that does not look good for him.
Doesn't look good for Team Canada nor for the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, that'll really affect this game if he's gone. In particular, the power play and the breakout passes for Team Canada.
Sakic bringing it on. Pass went off the skate of Scott Young. Niedermeyer drops back. One lone shot up on the board. It is for Canada. Moving back ahead with it now is Leach creeping in. Fed one across, and it was through LaFontaine. Now here comes Lindros, laying it across for Sakic. Hurried it on, but trouble there on the pass from Shanahan. An offside call, and we get a stoppage.
And I will apologize. There was one shot on goal, that by Theo Fleury at the time of the Chelios penalty. So the first unit for Canada struggles here on the power play. 53 seconds of it gone now. Here's Brian Leach, the captain for Team USA, being very careful and then trying to set up the cross-ice pass to Pat LaFontaine. They had a great chance there. Didn't quite work. They've scored 2 shorthanded goals in the tournament, one by LaFontaine and one by Brett Hull. LaFontaine was close there to getting a second.
Ryan Leach sitting at the bench, waiting now. The penalty killers out for Team USA include Joel Otto and Adam Deadmarsh up front. Kevin Hatcher working in back, along with Gary Suter. Niedermeyer with a little tap on back, but set up by Sakic for the carry by Mark Messier. Messier off Sakic, but to Niedermeyer and back in. Mike Richter flips it around the other way. Theo Fleury got there, but Deadmarsh came up with it. Now still a battle, and Deadmarsh able to get it back out. 47 left on the kill. Quickly back in near Gary Suter. Suter able to pump it along, but Sakic kept it. Joe Sakic lines up, doesn't shoot. Wrist shot, knocked down in front, another shot, and Richter was able to get both of them. Thrown back off and out, and Mike Richter all in the goal for Team USA.
2 huge rebound saves there. Deadmarsh of Team USA told me when he penalty kills, he wants to stop Team Canada from getting point shots.
Oh, trouble there. Leach tried to work it out. It's dumped right back in behind. Held there by Rod Brindamore. Fed one in front that went off Damphousse. Team USA shifts from defense to offense. 10 left on their kill. Brett Hull turning in. Lobbed one to the front. Desjardins takes that. And it is Chelios to get out of the penalty box right now. The teams are back at full strength. One shot on that power play for Team Canada.
And Mike, I think they got 2. They don't register it on the board, but I think Richter made 2 splendid rebound saves on that original shot by Sakic.
It is Stevens laying it back across for Desjardins. Off of Brindamore. Tony Amonte moving back in. Little pass came to Brindamore and then Desjardins. Glad you've joined us tonight from Molson Center in Montreal. Game 3, best of 3, the World Cup final. Pivoting with it is Matthew Schneider. Native of New York, born there and raised in New Jersey. Wrapped this one back in. It came over to Tony Amonte. Ran hard to the boards by Stevens. Thundering check. Centering pass came on to Graves. Graves steers on for Claude Lemieux, and Lemieux with a big blast that blocked aside by Richter. So, Smolinski in neutral ice to Schneider, who tried to pump it on.
Now here you have Odoline, who's only played one game, now moving to left defense. He's a right-handed shot. He's playing left D in place of Paul Coffey. So for Team USA, that's something their coaches will tell their players. Feed on it. Go after it.
It is Gretzky in front, and Domfus had trouble. On him defensively was Tony Amonte. The puck tipped back out again, and Gretzky just flips it once more back in. Kevin Hatcher pursued by Gretzky. They cancel. Schneider wrapped it around. Still some tangling back behind the net. Now worked out by Smolinski and dropped in for a U.S. shift change. 13:37 to go. First period, no score. Shots 3-0 Canada. Eric Lindros banked it. Read by Suter. Dropped back in. Good thump on him by Lindros. Drugged down by Guerin, but poked away by Foot. Centered around for the pivoting of Keith Tkachuk, who threw it in front, but Foot one-handedly blocked it away. Dumped along, and Bill Guerin behind. Rammed to the boards and glass by Foot. Guerin again. Oh, and a heavy collision of players, Desjardins and Tkachuk. Dumped around once more. Desjardins behind. Knocked it away from Guerin. Up the wing for Lindros. Lost to Suter in the dump back in.
Are these teams finishing their checks? Oh boy. They are really finishing their checks.
Notice Team USA's resorted to the dump in quite a bit, John.
They feel that throughout the tournament, every time they played Canada, their goals come off of dumping the puck deep and going and retrieving and work Canada's defense. A Hull breakaway goal and a power play goal have not been a result of that type of play. All their other goals, the coaching staff say, have been. So their game plan is dump it and go get it and bang and create turnovers.
This time, it's Canada dumping in. Graves did that. Richter tipped it away. Graves there to get it again.
Penalty to Claude Lemieux. He bumped Richter. Silly, silly.
Power play to the U.S. when we come back.
Child's play.
Whoa.
Shaken, not stirred.
Nothing's more intense than slamming a dude.
The preceding arguments for sliding doors on both sides were brought to you courtesy of Dodge Caravan. Just as original as the original.
Mike Richter has the puck on the dump in, and Lemieux, you can't touch the goaltender. The rule reads they are not fair game. You can't make any contact whatsoever. He did, certainly. Terry Gregson made the call. So USA gets their first power play in the finals. They're 1 for 7, a John LeClair goal.
You had mentioned earlier the strategy on LeClair. Showed an example of it. See how Canada handles that, trying to keep the big man from getting to the front of the net. Get a stoppage of play on an offside with 12:08 to go in the first.
There we go. Graves and Tkachuk pushing it, shoving at one another. Two power forwards. As this happens to be happening after the whistle. The Team USA has not registered a shot yet. We're almost 8 minutes in, and a power play can establish some offense for your hockey club. And you can see that's the man that Team USA is looking to, Brett Hull, with his marvelous hands around the goal crease.
Waite and Tkachuk are the other two forwards. Kevin Hatcher will be one man at the point, and the other will be Brian Leetch. Kevin Hatcher out of Detroit, Michigan, rolling this one back around. Set up by Joseph, taken by Stevens, chopped that by Tkachuk. It is Messier. Messier able to get it back out of trouble to Stevens. Fires it around the boards. Hatcher can't stop that, and it's down.
Now you see the fast glass here. This is a building that does not have partitions. Just little things at the top of the glass holding them together. So when you fire the puck around the goal, or pardon me, around the glass, it really flies.
Here's Hull moving in, and a shot is saved by Joseph. The very first shot for Team USA, and it's the guy they would pick to take it. Brett Hull stopped by Joseph. Power play time is half over. Dump back around for a little pass over to Leach. Leach stepping by one and played it further. Jammed back in by John LeClair, but stopped by Joseph for Odeline. Wrapped it around, and Leach able to stop it a little. Guided it on, but it's Dom Foose walking it up for Canada and turning it back in. Chris Chelios taking over in the final 37 of his team's power play. Pat LaFontaine moving on. Trying to step by Niedermeyer, but instead it's banked back to Chelios. Chelios holding, shoots one in front, and it went wide past a log jam of players. Suter's shot, ricochet back out. Chelios hustling to get there ahead of Brindamore. Brindamore able to hand across to Niedermeyer. Scott Niedermeyer with a wrist shot out of the glove of Richter, and he has to cover.
Baby, what a collision there. Brindamore went to the net. John LeClair took care of Brindamore. Man, that was about an 8 on the Richter scale, and it's not the Mike Richter scale either. That's the real Richter scale. Man, what a collision that was. Here's John LeClair cruising back. Now this is in the offensive zone, and you see Odeline broke his stick right in half in cross-checking LeClair. He broke it right up near his hands, between his hands, and he had to throw his stick down. And there's LeClair looking up on the big board here, watching the replay of his body check on Rod Brindamore. That was a beauty. LeClair said it's kind of strange. He's not nervous for these games. He thought he would be. Look at this hit. Boom. Oh, goodness. That's how you clear people away from the net.
Puck controlled back to the point. But now worked along by Team USA, though not out. Fed along by Linden, but it is Chris Chelios. 3 to go on the penalty to Claude Lemieux. And so the first kill for Canada has gone well. Young's pass ricocheted back out. Linden couldn't reach. Lemieux could, but left it behind. Trevor Linden lost. Ryan Smolinski dipping back further. Then on to Tony Amonte. Amonte flipped one ahead, went across 2 lines, and so a stoppage of play. Almost halfway through this first period, it has been tense. 4 shots for Canada, 1 for the U.S., and none in.
It's about change. About breaking rules and making new rules. About building machines more in harmony with humanity. It's about questioning everything. It's about change. The new Dodge.
Half a period away, New Dodge intermission report. Brett Hull will join Jim Fox. Feature on the highlights of this wonderful tournament, tonight's highlights and more.
So the only goal Team USA has had, it was an accurate shot by Brett Hull that Curtis Joseph made the save on. That was on the USA power play.
From the glass to Leach's stick. But then Gretzky jabbed it around. It is Linden sending one in front, and the shot knuckled off the defense, and a scramble, and Richter has it. Oh, it was from Linden to Dom Foose, but Richter wound up with it.
I think it was a real smart dump in by Team Canada. The puck was elevated like a punt in football, elevated way up in the air. And that makes it tough for the defense. Watch Scott Stevens. Look at the elevation. Now a D goes back to get it, and he has to wait for the puck. And then Linden takes the body. All the bodies are there. There's a shot by Dom Foose, and Richter reacted to a bouncing puck and made a good save. Those are the type of dump-ins that coaches talk to their players about. Cross corner, elevated, and that gives the forwards an extra step or two to get in there and take the body, which Team Canada did.
From the tie-up, it is Team USA emerging. Ryan Leach able to bring it ahead. Sent one past Amonte, stopped by Joseph. Joseph whips it with a big goal stick on around, hung up in the skates of Deadmarsh. Amonte to the back, Leach moves in. Leach sent one in front, off sticks. LeClair has it, turnaround shot blocked by Joseph. He covers, and play is stopped. There'll be a penalty.
Oh, baby, how tough is LeClair around the net? How do you, when you see this, Team Canada knows it. They're trying to work him over. There will be, or there should be, at least one penalty, and that's to Team Canada. Terry Gregson had his arm up before all the pushing and shoving. Nice play by Leach to get the puck to the goal, and Curtis Joseph with a save.
Let's check in with Jim Fox.
Thanks very much, Mike. Interesting. You guys were talking about passing the torch, the way it was passed in Canada's dressing room before the game. Well, there's pressure on some guys in this tournament. In a Montreal paper talking about Eric Lindros the other day, they said he's dropped the torch. They're very disappointed in his offensive production when you compare it to players like Gretzky and Mario Lemieux over past Canada Cups. And with Lindros, I don't know if that's fair to him, guys. I don't know if he's the same type of style as a Gretzky or Lemieux. And there's one thing for sure, when you talk to opposition head coaches before the game, they say one thing you have to do is stop Eric Lindros.
He has the first goal of game 1. He has 2 assists. He has more points than those two players do.
He can play on my team anytime he
Darn
wants,
right.
I'll tell you that. He's a power forward. He does not have the finesse that Gretzky and Lemieux have, but that's the way it is. There, Dom Foos takes the penalty. And that gives Team USA their second power play in this first period.
Holding at 10:29 of the period. Puck sent back to the point. It's Leach with it there. Over to Kevin Hatcher. Big drive is angled by Waite. Hung up in Scott Stevens. He cleared but not out. Kevin Hatcher fires. Knocked loose in front off Waite's stick. Picked up by Messier and he clears.
Good work by Desjardins in front as Team USA had time with their defensemen taking the shots, but could not get the shots through to Curtis Joseph.
Kevin Hatcher ahead, blasts the heart around. It swirls all the way back to the point for Leach. Leach shoots one, deflected off Joseph. Loose puck behind. Hull trying to get there. Then along to Tkachuk. Pointed back to Kevin Hatcher. Hatcher threw it through Tkachuk, around behind. Doug Waite turning with it there. Waite just looks to the front, gave it to Leach. Leach across. Big drive by Hull. He scores! Brett Hull, 1-0, a power play goal.
You wonder how a person can be so accurate with a slap shot when you haven't stopped the pass, you haven't stopped the puck, and you're at the bad angle. Brett Hull's a right-handed shot, normally a right winger. Here he is on the left side of the ice. His stick is facing the passer. He's facing the passer, and he can step into the shot right here. Rockets the shot right over the shoulder of Curtis Joseph. 1-0 Team USA on the power play. They got the power play because they dumped the puck into the zone and forced Canada to try and hold bodies out of the way. That's how Dom Foos took his penalty. Brett Hull gets the big one here. What a tournament the St. Louis Blues had. What a tournament.
Hull, 6th goal of the tournament, the 2nd of the series, and his 3rd in the tournament on the power play. It comes at 11:18. Team USA has scored the first goal on 4 previous occasions and has won all 4 of those games. Play stopped here in Montreal. Brett Hull with the only goal.
We have a wonderful 75 Lac-Louis Cabernet, or an exquisite 58 Le Boussemillon, or a 62 Je vous Pinot if you're in the mood for...
No. Enough of that old stuff. The lady and I would prefer something fresh. How about something in a lager? What do you got in a Budweiser from, say, early this month?
Budweiser, guaranteed fresh with born on dates.
Focus group members, how can we give this new sports network that Fox attitude?
Oh, the Ram Sports Network.
More full frontal sports.
Yeah, Daddy. Oh, yeah.
Who does your hair?
I mean, real Fox attitude.
I'd like to see Patrick Wall let his guard down.
Home team's Fox Attitude on the all-new Fox Sportsnet, coming November 1st.
Hull from Leach and Waite at 11:18. The shots 5-3 Team Canada. 8:29 to go in the first period. LaFontaine and Rod Brindamore on the faceoff. Ray Scapanello drops it, and it's Otto feeding on back. Suter to Chelios, and it's lobbed back in. Niedermeyer back after it. Otto wedged out. Dumped back around for control by Theo Fleury. Weak toss, but Odeline gives it back to him. Fleury with the blast. Richter the stop. And the cover. And he ducked out of the way as Niedermeyer came by his head. And a little extra.
Canada really wants to get it going in the offensive zone here, so they're trying to be very, very feisty, and Team USA battles right back. USA continues to dump the puck in if they can. Here's the dump in by Team Canada, and you see Niedermayer, the defenseman, trying to jump in on the play. Now Keith Tkachuk, look at 17 White. He's the one that made Curtis Joseph lose the puck for a moment by standing in front, blocking the view, and finally when Joseph got around, by that time Brett Hull had rifled the shot top corner. Brett Hull will be on a flight early in the morning to Duluth, Minnesota. To rest for a few days before going back to St. Louis for their training camp.
Ron Wilson will be on a flight tomorrow morning with his general manager in Anaheim, Jack Ferreira, and Chris Kincaid, one of the equipment guys, because they have a game tomorrow night, the first preseason game. The Mighty Ducks of Anaheim will be at home against the Kings. They got to go to work. Their flight sometime around 9 a.m. Lucky the time change is with them.
How about Florida, the Panthers? They're training in Summerside, Prince Edward Island, the east coast of Canada.
Puck back to Foot for a shot, and it flew wide. Taken, though, by Yzerman. Yzerman dropped it back off. Rod Brind'Amour steps to that one. Brind'Amour moving around in front, and a shot went off someone, and then it's trapped in the scramble by Richter.
Now this line may spark. Tkachuk dropped his gloves, took a punch at Adam Foote, who had lost his helmet. And only one linesman over there to help break those two big guys up. This is getting real serious. Mike Richter showing good balance. Kept his angle. He has massive thighs. And look at this. This is what he does prior to every practice and every game. He'll go 2 or 3 hours before and he'll jog around the arenas, and he has to loosen up those big thighs. So he does a lot of stretching to take care of them so he doesn't pull any muscles or tear any groins or whatever.
Member of the 88 Olympic team, 91 Canada Cup, world teams from the U.S., 86, 87, and 93. Plus a Stanley Cup in time in 94.
I was amused at people saying that Team USA's goaltending would be questionable going into this tournament. Man, they got Jim Carey, they got D.A. Bear, they've got Mike Richter, John Van Beesbrook is a goalie that couldn't play because of a shoulder operation. I was mentioning about Canada and hockey in Prince Edward Island, where the Florida Panthers are practicing, having their training camp. Kids out of school, bused by the schools to be able to watch. That's how much it means to people in Canada.
Puck lobbed on back. Niedermayer angled it back off. It went off the linesman's skate. Brian Leetch plays that one, dumping it further. Niedermayer rifled it right back in, stopped behind by Richter. Doug McLean is from Summerside, PEI, and it's probably, if he's not mayor, he could be elected that. But he prefers to go with his 3-year contract, a brand new one, for being with the Panthers as their coach. Angled back near Niedermayer again. The teams are at full strength. 7:20 left in the first. Team USA ahead on a power play goal by Brett Hull, 1-0. And a steal by Amonte. Tony Amonte forced Malinsky. Trouble on that one, though, and it's Sakic trying for Shanahan. Shanahan threw it back in wide. It'll be icing if Leetch gets there. He does, so it is.
See how smart he is? You see Leetch bump Lindros just before Leetch got the puck? That's how smart he is. Some people will say, Eric Lindros is a horse. He should be able to demolish Brian Leetch, but Brian Leetch is so smart. He's a person smaller, yes, but he's able to be able to go with a bigger player. The puck is fired down by Shanahan. Look at Leetch play Lindros. Now he'll bump him again right here. Bump and then get the puck. That's just smart heads-up hockey. Mike, you get this feeling both teams really trying to establish their forecheck. They're trying to find a way to retrieve the puck and create turnovers. Eric yesterday went back to the hotel and watched Happy Gilmore movie. A goofy movie. Try and stay loose.
Guy who's been skating since he's been 2. So that's 21 years of skating and playing hockey. Has lived with a lot of pressure. Has had some here in the province of Quebec when he didn't want to play for then the NHL team, the Nordiques. So he's used to that. I think his performance has been fine. Back on now comes Scott Young, who pivots. Young tried to send it back in and did. Odeline there. And it's wrapped on around further, but Matthew Schneider to get it. Schneider playing it along now for Young. Scott Young taken out, spun along by Graves. Went through Richter's stick. Along comes Claude Lemieux. Turnaround shot. Jabbed at it through the crease wide from Graves. Helmetless is Scott Young. Brings it back ahead. They've got a 4-on-3. Pass went off of Schneider. Hustling to it is Doug Weight, and Weight turned one around that came to Niedermayer. 6:05 to go first period. Niedermayer laid it back in. Stepping to this defensively, Matthew Schneider.
Well, his white jerseys are like blockers in football. They're blocking the red jerseys from getting in deep. Canada has not established that forecheck like they did in third period of game 2.
Adam Detmarsh trying to get through. Got it to Otto for a shot. Hit the goal post. Joel Otto ripped one off the right post. And a big goal went up from the crowd. Meanwhile, turning with it is Niedermeyer, laying it through the forechecking of LaFontaine to Adam Foote. Foote lobbed it off the glass. Turned around now for Domfus. Vincent Domfus for Team Canada, which trails 1-0 on a power play goal by Brett Hull. Puck lobbed out of play.
Again, you had Canada dumping the puck. Team USA holding up those red jerseys. That allows Team USA to get the puck, move out of the zone, and have instant offense. Instant offense led to a goal post hit by Joel Otto. You have to be smart defensively before you make it happen offensively. Look at the dump in. Now look at the red jerseys can't get there. They're all being held up. Look at that. Now they can make a nice little play, get a little time, move the puck up the boards. Now you can make a nice pass. Nobody's been hit, and all of a sudden there's offense. You battle through people, and Joel Otto retrieves the puck, fires it off the goalpost. You've got to be smart defensively first.
Play back in. Niedermeyer with it there. Flings it back into the Team USA zone. Lobbed back near Scott Niedermeyer, who already has seen a lot of ice time. Part of that due to the injury to Paul Coffey. Yes, we are pursuing this, but we do not have an answer yet. Teams tend to be pretty careful about that sort of thing. It is tucked back out by Mike Modano, but brought back on by Lindros. So it's Bill Guerin back with 5 minutes to play in the first. Guerin's pass is spirited on to Mike Modano, who moves back up with Tkachuk. They crisscross, and it's Modano trying to step by Lyle Odeline. Nice denial by Odeline, and then Guerin. Bill Guerin walks to the front, tried for Tkachuk, but it's blocked by Niedermeyer. And Shanahan starts it back for Team Canada. Brendan Shanahan just lobs it back in, wants to get to it. Out of his net is Richter, flipped it along, and Keith Tkachuk avoids a trip attempt of Shanahan that time and angled it back down.
We haven't seen the pace in this game that we have seen in the previous two. Both teams trying to be smart defensively. Canada without Paul Coffey since the 6-minute mark of the first period. Will their defense tire because of it?
Darian Hatcher, but then Stevens right on goal and a safe rebound. Yzerman, oh, what a remarkable save made on Yzerman by Richter. To the point, Desjardins, a shot, it ricocheted, trucked away by Richter. Oh my, back now to Yzerman. Yzerman couldn't hold, Desjardins could. Flipped one that skipped near John LeClair. They control and try to play it back. Brind'Amour wanted to reach the point, but it was blocked. Team Canada drops back, hopes for another chance. Team USA still at 3 shots on goal, Canada at 8.
And those were the best ones. Mike Richter, spectacular. But again, it's the Fleury, Brind'Amour, Yzerman line. It's been their best line here in the first period. They've had 2 great shifts for Canada. They did everything but beat Richter. Richter spectacular. And here now, the fans responding to that Canadian line.
Note the back position. Oh, what a tragedy!
Training is such a bore.
Nothing's more intense than slamming a dude.
Whoa, Andre's really on fire. Whoa. Gotta hand it to those new coaches.
Bravo! Brilliant! Smash it! Good shot!
Out. Downstairs, Jim Fox.
Thanks, Mike and JD. Just an update on Paul Coffey. There's no doubt he is injured. He's in pain. Maybe the shoulder, maybe the wrist. We look at action here, but certainly Paul Coffey is not at 100%, although he is back on the Canada's bench.
That was just a replay of some of the last action that Steve Yzerman was involved in. You see him there at the bench. Paul Coffey in pain. We have no diagnosis yet, and that may take a while.
Yeah, the last 2 shifts, again, by the Yzerman, Brind'Amour, Fleury line. They spent the majority of the time on their shifts in Team USA's zone. The only line to do so for Team Canada.
Foote rolled it around. Mark Messier behind. Messier trying to outdance Waite. Rolled it back along further. Claude Lemieux got there. tries for Messier again. They burrow in behind. Adam Graves helped it to Messier. Spun one in front, knocked away by Richter. Backhander, and another stop by the skate of Richter as Adam Graves reached out and just didn't get enough on it.
And it was awfully hard for Claude Lemieux to find a way to fire the puck when he had his stick held by a couple of white jerseys. I think Matthew Schneider in particular. The forecheck for Canada now starting to become impressive. Their last two shifts, the Messier, Graves, Lemieux line, keep it going after the Yzerman line got something happening. However, Mike Richter, again, he's such a great athlete. He can fight through traffic to make plays. There's the forecheck puck to the front. Graves is there. Look at the other side. Hull and Schneider grabbing a hold of Claude Lemieux's stick. He had no chance of finding a rebound. Richter's, oh baby, look at that. That caught the skate of Matthew Schneider. It may have gone wide. It may have gone in. I don't know. That was awfully close. But Canada now establishing for the first time genuine forechecking.
Joel Otto and Steve Yzerman for the faceoff.
Yeah, see who Canada comes right back with? They had this line on the ice. Then they came with Messier's line. Now they come right back with Yzerman, Fleury, and Brind'Amour. The coaches know it's a one-time shot, so they're going with the players who are playing the best.
It is Suter. Then Joel Otto. Out of Elk River, Minnesota. Lobs it back out. Scott Stevens goes to get it. Stevens pass tipped by Yzerman. Rolled back by Otto. Pat LaFontaine spun it further, and Deadmarsh put it back in. Jostled a bit with Stevens. You watch as Oderline plays. Just under 3 minutes to go, first period. Team USA ahead 1-0 on a power play goal by Brett Hull. Jim Fox's guest in the first intermission. Oderline dropping back further. No change in Team USA's alignment. Theo Fleury lobs it on, but instead it's Chelios. Putting it off of Brind'Amour. On with it is Yzerman. Steve Yzerman leaned on by Otto. Yzerman taken off. Chelios turned it around, and it's thrown out by Deadmarsh. Another change in lines for Team USA.
Now with that short rest for Brind'Amour, Yzerman, and Fleury, they weren't quite as effective. Maybe they should have sat for a couple of shifts, then come back with more energy. Paul Coffey is back on the bench, as Jim Fox stated. He does not have his gloves on. He's in a lot of pain. I don't think you'll see him play unless he gets a lot better than what he's been. You see him flexing the left arm. I think he's there for moral support more than anything else. He's a real leader for their defenseman, and he's hoping, obviously, to get back. Well, Team USA slowed the pace down on the last shift, stopping Canada's forecheck. We have 2:17 to go in the first period. Shots are 9-3 Canada, but the score 1-0 on a power play goal by Brett Hull for Team USA.
Big boys out for Canada, Shanahan and Lindros, along with Sakic, and that means Darian Hatcher is out there.
And also, I like this too. You've got Shanahan and Lindros playing the walls, the wings for Canada, but you've got Tkachuk and Billy Guerin playing the wings, playing the boards for Team USA. These are four of the better power forwards in the entire National Hockey League. And when you get players like this going opposite one another, something big could happen regarding body checks.
Leach shuttled it on. Tkachuk banged it off, and it's Desjardins. Desjardins and Niedermeyer, the defense combination for Glenn Sather's Team Canada. Niedermeyer's pass escaped, but Sakic rustled it down. Joel Sakic starting ahead, trying to break through. Leach came over. Sakic, a shot, and a save made by Richter. Joe Sakic, a remarkable break right through the defense. On now comes Modano. Hurries one, and Joseph had to act quickly to block that one. The first U.S. shot for a long time. Now it's Leach stepping in at the circle. Leach moving in, and a shot deflected to the glass by Desjardins. Team USA warming to the task here. Tkachuk dumping it along, pivoting with it, trying to get loose as Mike Modano double team, but it trickled through. Tkachuk went down, and it's a little pass rustled down by Shanahan and given on to Sakic. Joe Sakic again, looking to make a play, tries the dump in. Richter the read, spun it to the glass. Sakic again, lobbed one along, but it hung up in the referee's skate. And then sent down was Lindros by Darian Hatcher. It's in deep to Shanahan. Looks for a pass in front, and it's shanked wide by Adam Foote. Shanahan couldn't center. Lindros bumping with Guerin. Centering pass, knocked away by Leach. Played back by Bill Guerin. Hammered one that went off the referee's skates, kept alive by Canada. It is Shanahan. Off of Tkachuk. Work back to Sakic. This shot on! He went for the top corner and almost got it. It's Foote again, dumping it around off the shoulder of Lindros. Lindros controlling, centered one. It's off Guerin's stick and taken by Leach. And Team USA wants to ice but can't. Lindros keeps the pressure on. Shanahan stepping to it there. 30 to go in the period. And it's tipped back down by Leach. And Team USA can finally make a change. So Stevens back with 22 left in the period. Watched by LeClaire. Stevens banked it back up, and it is Smolinski. Smolinski creeping in, hit the outside of the goal. Smolinski around behind again. Got away from Dompoos, back to the point. Snyder a shot, pad stop, made by Joseph. And then it's LeClaire in the final 7 of the period. LeClaire fighting with Stevens behind the net. John LeClaire without a stick. It's centered in front. It flew by Amandi, and the horn will sound to end the period.
Goaltending, hitting, 1 goal in the power play. Baby, we're seeing 2 teams give it their best shot. Look at the smile on his face. He had the only goal.
And he will join Tim Fox in just a moment.
Some of the most admired cars you'll see are owned by the guys who know cars best. They're ASC certified master mechanics, and the #1 brand of motor oil these guys use in their own cars and trucks is Valvoline, makers of Durablend, the leading semi-synthetic for a cleaner engine due to better control of harmful deposits. So use the oil the mechanics who take care of your car use to take care of theirs. Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline.
Old junky antique shops. I like. You want me to tell you what my Discover card statement says? Just little things that make a girl sing. I have fish and I have birds and I have dogs. Mango. Cecilia Bartoli and something by Puccini. Floridita Cuban restaurant, fabulous. Stuck to my diet a little bit. That cash bonus thing at the end.
How many credit cards make a statement like that?
Live a little.
It pays to Discover. Use it where you see the Nova sign.
From Walt Disney Pictures. No fear.
You know we're gonna hurt you. Bring it on.
No limits. No brakes. Just ducks.
Quack, quack. This guy is no duck.
Emilio Estevez.
Same old ducks.
D3, The Mighty Ducks. Rated PG. Starts Friday, October 4th at a theater near you.
Hey, you're a guy, and guys want to be cool. Hang out with other guys who are cool. But even cool guys sweat. 40% more than women, in fact. So how you gonna stay cool? With something new, Speed Stick Gel. No other gel keeps you drier, so you always feel your coolest. It's unbeatable gel protection, and guys, no matter how cool they are, need all the protection they can get. New Speed Stick Gel. It's just for the guys.
It can't be. I got to see. It is. The 365. Boss, give a look. Ugye ez egy IBM ThinkPad 365-ös.
Az bizony.
It could be no other. Feel the track point. Feast your eyes on the screen. Can we swing it, boss, huh?
Meglepően olcsó.
Yeah. That's my boss. What a guy, huh?
Welcome back to the New Dodge Intermission Report. We're in Montreal. It's the final game of World Cup 96 after 1 period of play. U.S. leads Canada 1-0. And joining me right now is the goal scorer from the first period, Brett Hull. Brett, I want to talk about the first period, not necessarily your goal. It seemed to me, if possible, the most physical period play so far.
It was, and I think there's a lot of about 40 nervous guys out there, and they don't want to make mistakes, and the easiest way not to make a mistake is always finish your check and forecheck hard taking the body.
It's interesting, you use that word nervousness, pressure. We've talked about your smile before. Does that mean that Brett Hull does not feel pressure? You don't get nervous?
Scared to death out there and very nervous, but I mean, people have ways of showing it, and I try to keep an outwardly calm look on my face, and that's important in the dressing room and on the bench when the guys look and see, well, there's a guy who's calm and collected. I mean, even though I'm paddling like the duck underwater, but it's a calming effect on everyone.
Well, let's take a look at some of that paddling. You had a power play goal, the one-timer, exactly where you want it. Yeah. They set you up perfectly.
Yeah, well, I started out in the slot, and the puck came over to Brian Leach, and I slid over to the backside, and I got a lot of wood on it, and Keith Tkachuk caused an interference in front. I don't think Cujo ever saw it.
They talked before the game or after game two. Certainly the Team USA felt, okay, it's nice to play a road game type of situation because you don't have to put on a show for some guys. Do you feel that in the dressing room?
Well, we talked about that before the game, and we thought that the team that comes out here with the simplest game plan and executes that simple game plan is going to be the most successful. And it looks to me like both teams had the same idea because there's a lot of dumping and chasing going on.
When everything's going on like that, we're watching the game. Do you ever get a chance during the game to step back and say, hey, this is some pretty good hockey here?
Oh, certainly. We know it from the opening shift, from the opening game of the tournament and exhibition against Canada. We knew it was going to be exciting, and this game is no exception.
We have to look ahead to the latter two periods in the game. What do you think in the second period?
Well, there's no question it's going to be the same type of hockey, and I think the team that doesn't make the mistakes in their own end and the team that gets the best goaltender is going to win.
Well, Brett, good luck to USFA. Thanks very much for stopping by. Brett Hull has joined us after one period of play. Team USA leads 1-0. And coming up next on the New Dodge Intermission Report, we'll look back on some special moments from the World Cup of Hockey '96 right after these words.
If I give you a clean sheet, what will you write? Will your words be long and graceful, or short and sweet? Will it be poetry, or just plain English? If you have something to say it now. For soon, always too soon, my sheet will be filled